With the completion of the Neo Egoist League, Japan has acquired a new U20 team for the upcoming U20 World Cup.
This new team is filled with breakout stars and dark horses who are hungry to prove themselves, and they will get the opportunity on the biggest stage by representing Japan in one of the most exciting international tournaments in youth football.
This edition is even more special than the usual because every new Gen 11 player will be participating in this competition, meaning this will be without a doubt the greatest U20 World Cup ever.
That being said, we want to try and predict what could happen in the U20 World Cup.
Let's start prior to the tournament with the training camp and learning about all the prior steps. Obviously, we know that the Blue Lock 23 entered the training camp and they also received a bunch of new weapons because they've been doing personalized training under Jinpachi Ego's instructions.
Meanwhile, the JFU chairman holds the power to add 3 extra players to the U20 Japan. One spot is already confirmed for Itoshi Sai, and in addition, he also offered a spot to Nagi.
We saw Nagi decline this offer, but after that interaction, we see Nagi talk with the monk. Nagi had a little realization of his own, and Nagi's actually looking fired up again, and he might actually take that second spot.
And if Nagi actually does take that second spot, then that leaves only one big mystery, and that is who will claim that final spot.
There are a bunch of theories out there right now. We've seen names like Kira, potentially any of the former U20 players, maybe a former Blue Locker in the previous phase. We've seen a lot of different theories from different people, but please let us know in the comment section what you guys think. We can dive into this and maybe do our own separate video on this if it doesn't get revealed soon, but we definitely want to hear what you guys think.
Moving on to the next phase, we'll be talking about beginning of the tournament, which would be the group stages, and we already have 3 of those matches confirmed, with Group A being the group of death with Nigeria, England, and France.
Their first match will be against Nigeria in a high-stakes opener. The next match will probably be their hardest, and that will be against France, where they have to go against the tournament favorites who are led by Loki and Charles. And finally, that last group stage match will be against England in a do-or-die finale. Only the top 2 teams from this extremely competitive group can advance to the knockout stages. This means Japan must have a near-perfect performance to advance to the next level.
If Japan advances to the knockout stages, then we believe that there are a few ways that could happen, starting with Japan gets 7 points out of 9 from these 3 matches. They'll get 2 wins here, 3 points versus Nigeria and 3 points versus England, and 1 tie with 1 point versus France.
Japan needs to win against Nigeria. The other biggest roundabout for them is going to be their match against England. Either way, getting a result of 7 points out of 9 potential points is a massive achievement for Japan.
Yes, what you're saying is true, but we can also confidently say that England is one of the best footballing nations in the world. So they could have a new Gen 11 player, and it would be cool to see them play against Japan.
England's flag was shown on that panel when it was promoting all the new Gen 11 players along with the U20 World Cup. So maybe that could be a big hint for England having a new Gen 11 player. If that's the case, then it's going to be even more impressive if Japan does beat England. They always have some of the best players in the world, so if they're able to beat a team like England, I think that's going to be a huge victory for the country of Japan.
But another way this could go out is that Japan gets 5 points out of 9, where they get 1 win versus Nigeria, equaling 3 points, and then 2 ties, 1 point versus England and 1 point versus France. For that to work, England would have to lose to France and tie against Japan. That would leave them with 4 points total, allowing Japan to scrap by with a 1 point advantage into the knockout stages.
And if you watch tournaments like the Euros, Copa America, any international tournament, or any tournament in football actually, you always see that upsets can happen. Maybe it could be Nigeria beating England. I definitely won't say they can beat France. That would be a huge upset. But either way, we think Japan could advance with this many points if the other factors align with it.
But another way this could go out is that Japan gets 4 points out of 9, 1 win versus Nigeria for 3 points, 1 tie with 1 point versus England, and 1 loss, which is 0 points versus France. And for this situation to work, then Nigeria would need to pull an upset by defeating England.
Essentially meaning France has to go undefeated, and Nigeria is going to have to pull something incredible to pull an upset against England. Japan still has to pull off a good performance by tying against England. The only other way that any of these results could be thrown away to the side, and this is the last scenario, if Japan gets 6 points out of 9 by beating Nigeria and beating England but losing against France. That could potentially be one of the greatest ways to go about it because Japan would get 2 statement victories while also building up that rivalry between Loki and Isagi.
We're pretty confident that Japan will be able to advance into the next stage.
The main reason we say this is because Sai said he will only play for Japan if they advance the knockout stages. We need to see Sai play in the U20 World Cup if he said he's going to get a spot. And we already got so much build-up with Bunny Iglesias, and he's probably the one that Sai wants to crush the most, and it's definitely going to lead up something crazy like maybe a Sai evolution or some shit like that.
And Kanashiro has already mentioned that in the future, there's a good chance we're going to see Sai and Isagi play together. So I think that also would further add on to evidence supporting that.
The only real question is, when are they going to play each other? After the group stages, the top teams will advance to the round of 16, where they'll all play against each other in a bracket style. One of my first picks for the round of 16 match is obviously Spain, because there's already so much buildup with Sai, Bunny, Isagi. If not, maybe someone like Brazil or Argentina, so we can see a South American team, which is still very good and promising. Maybe someone like Italy, maybe you can see Don Lorenzo again.
There's a chance we could see Japan versus Spain in the round of 16.
I think Japan would beat Spain, and that Sai evolution is going to play a factor, like I said earlier, because you said Isagi and Sai have already been hinted by Kaneshiro, and if those two work together against Spain, I definitely think they're going to win. Who knows, maybe we'll see a Sai Itoshi game winner.
Especially on that stage against Bunny. I can already see the story set up for something really nice there.
If they don't play Spain in the round of 16, I think the quarterfinals will be the next best option, because we already know that matchup is going to happen. The quarterfinals should be a South American team, like I mentioned earlier, if they don't play one in the round of 16. But overall, it would just be cool to see other teams besides European teams.
A majority of the NEL was focused around European clubs, so it'd be interesting to see if he took that route to look at other countries, perhaps.
If it's not clear enough, I feel like Japan and Blue Lock have to go to the finals at least. The whole U20 World Cup would be kind of boring if they just made it to 1 or 2 games in knockout stages and didn't even get to go against some of the big baddies like Germany and Kaiser or Loki and France again.
If Japan's able to pull off a win early on against Spain, then I do predict that they will be able to go pretty far in this tournament.
I would love to have a semifinals of Germany versus Japan. Kaiser versus Isagi. I would love to see that matchup again. I need to see these two play against each other after all the bullshit that happened in the NEL.
I think having this match here could be really pivotal for the story and maybe even for Isagi's growth as he heads into the finals. Seeing a rematch between Kaiser and Isagi, except they're finally on separate sides of the ball, that would be really interesting to see. And you know it would be a completely heated, intense matchup.
Let's not forget, Rin is probably going to have smoke with Kaiser as well. Sai, he's going to have that new Gen 11 duel with him. I'd really like to see Kaiser go up to a next level after being embarrassed in the NEL by Isagi. If he goes on this tear in the U20 World Cup and he basically evolves into this new egotistical emperor, then I think we're going to get a new Michael Kaiser who's just on a whole nother fucking level, and he's going to be tearing up the field. I could see Kaiser scoring at least 2 or 3 goals.
I think Kaiser's really going to be fueled up by that rivalry in this moment and to finally place himself above Isagi once more. You already know he's starving to get that get back at this point. And of course you got to consider Ness too. You can see something where Ness is a much better player now. I mean, you saw more towards the end of that PXG match, he was stepping into his own new evolution.
I completely agree with you, because the reason why I said Kaiser might go on this tear is because at the end of the NEL, he told Kaiser that he's still going to follow him and try to assist him. And I could see them going crazy in the U20 World Cup because they're going to play together on the German team. And those two will probably have some new crazy chemical reactions. Ness will be this new playmaker. Kaiser will be this new striker, scoring new goals. I think this match could go 50-50. It really does go on what Kaneshiro thinks is best for the story. They could make Isagi lose here and really make him try to go up to a next level for the World Cup, or they could have him beat Kaiser and basically rub more dirt into Kaiser's face after being embarrassed. If Japan does beat Germany and they get all the way to the finals, we think it only makes sense that Japan plays France again in the rematch, but this time in the finals for all the glory.
This would be a really great matchup to see. I still think even in that PXG match versus Bayern Munich, we only got a small glimpse again of what Loki can do. I still think Loki still has a lot to show us.
Without a doubt, he's called the supernova. At the age of 18, he's past the level of New Gen 11. He's already at the stage of a world-class striker. He's already been deemed as the successor of Noel Noah in the French national team. The only way that I could see this team losing to Japan is if Gogmaro and the whole team step up on a whole nother level. But with Hitoshi Sai and maybe some more development throughout the tournament, they might have a chance. The biggest question is if they can stop Loki. I think Loki's gonna score a hat-trick in almost any game that he feels like it. Like Lotus said, we only saw a small glimpse in the PXG versus Bayern Munich match in the NEL. Plus, he has Charles by his side too. The biggest thing is stopping that Loki and Charles chemical reactions.
In the Bayern Munich versus PXG match, we saw that Noel Noah was kind of the one kind of keeping Loki in check. So they need some type of Noel Noah-like presence on this field if they really want to keep Loki at bay. Or maybe there's another situation like we saw in the PXG match where Charles decides he wants to be an ultimate troll and just not link up with Loki. I'm just throwing that out there. Would I want to see that? Absolutely not. But he has been proven to be a troll in the past.
Well, you're right, Lotus. He could just pull an ultimate rage bait and just not send passes to Loki. If that happens, then I still think they could just take him out. Either way, Loki will definitely lose some firepower. In that scenario, we might see like a 4-3 again, where where Japan slightly edges them out with a 1-goal lead. If that's the case, I would love to see either Rin or Isagi score that final goal. And either way, I think Itoshi Sai is sending that final ball and getting that game-winning assist.
It's definitely not impossible for them to pull it off. They have a lot of intense matchups on their way to finals, so there's a lot that they can pick up. There's a lot they can learn. And of course, you have to remember that Japan has the genius of adaptability himself, and he's going to adapt to many situations on this way to the finals. And he might not be the same player in the finals that he was in the beginning of this whole tournament.
Oh, for sure. Isagi evolves throughout every stage and every single phase in Blue Lock. If he makes it all the way to the finals, we're going to see a whole new Isagi by the end of this tournament. That being said, we are predicting an all-around victory for Japan. We've seen so many panels of Isagi saying, I will lead Japan to the U20 World Cup and lead them to glory, so we're hoping that really comes true. Japan's definitely going to have their first step to real victory and getting themselves closer to winning the real World Cup. The only other harsh reality that I could see is if Kaneshiro decides to get us all the way to the finals just for Loki to go crazy and to beat Japan. That would give Isagi and the rest of Japan the biggest motivational push, the feeling of despair of losing in the final and pushing themselves to succeed and win in the real World Cup.
I know at the end of the day, the story did hint to a possible Isagi and Noah face-off. Somehow the story has to get to that one day. I know we're a little far off from that, and that's like far off into the future, but it is definitely something that we're going to keep in the back of our minds.
10,000%. If they show that panel and they showed so much hype about it, then we have to get to that stage. This whole story of Blue Lock is all about Japan winning the World Cup, so no matter what after this U20 World Cup arc, we're definitely going to get some more story time in Blue Lock, and we're definitely going to see a real World Cup arc because this is what Blue Lock's all built up for. We covered everything we think could happen in the U20 World Cup. Please let us know what you guys think in the comment section. We obviously have our own biases, but let us know what you guys think is the most realistic options from the group stages all the way into the end of the finals. Also, don't forget, please let us know in the comment section who you think that third mystery player could be.
And as always, if you did enjoy the video, please consider giving a like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. And as always, we do have a link to our community Discord, and that link can be found in the description of this video below.
Thank you for sticking to the end. It's Tev.
And it's Lotus.
Peace.